Welcome to the Talent Show. What is going on, y'all? It is so good to be back in the groove, to getting back in the flow of season 5. Just want to say thank you guys for your support, your love, and just your fantastic engagement over the last couple months, especially in season 4. It's been fantastic, and I'm sure I'm going to continue to yap about it over the season. But I just want to say thank you guys for your love and support, man. It's meant so much. As we continue moving on with the 5th year of this, which is so crazy to me. I just hope you enjoy every episode. I hope you laugh at every episode and you take something away. Those are my 3 goals for this season. Just learn, laugh, and have fun with all of this. And, that's my goal. So I hope you guys can take that and enjoy it, man. So without me yapping for a minute long, let's introduce our guest for this episode, Mr. Will Furniss. Woo-hoo! First off, man, appreciate you for joining me. Good to see you. And man, how's life treating you right now?
It's going good. We got a couple wins this past weekend. Just beat Arkansas State last night in walk-off fashion, which is a little closer than we wanted it to be. But you know what? A win's a win. So life's going good right now. Just trying to stay on the win train.
That's good, man. Yeah, a close one against Arkansas State last night. We will kind of get into, but real quick, Will, for people that are listening, watching, tuning in that may not know a lot about you, could you just give a brief introduction about you, just where you're from, what you're doing now in your life, and just some things you've been able to accomplish to get you where you are today?
Oh, for sure. I'm Will Furniss. I'm from Nacogdoches, Texas. I play first base at Ole Miss. Let's see. I played baseball from a very young age. Didn't play baseball in high school until my junior year because I went to a small private school that didn't have baseball. So I actually played for a homeschool team out of Waxahachie. Maybe I think it's Waxahachie,
Yeah.
but in the Dallas DFW area. So I'd drive up there every Tuesday and Thursday and go play. And then after COVID, I transferred to Nacogdoches High School, and it's a 5A school, which Texas, the A's, the highest 6A, so it was the second
Mhm.
highest, I guess, and played there for 2 years, and then finally got to be on campus and play for the Rebels.
Yeah. Usually I kind of start from your get go, but I want to start with now, man. This 2025 Ole Miss baseball team.
Hmm.
A very good start so far.
Hmm.
Going to Arlington and taking care of some ranked wins. For you, there was so much they went on in the offseason, bringing in some new staff members, a lot of players transferring out, a lot of players transferring in.
Hmm.
What was your thoughts about leaving, coming back like you did? What was your process throughout the whole transfer portal, guys leaving and so much changing? What was your thought, and what allowed you to be like, this is where I want to be and finish my career at Ole Miss?
Yeah, for sure. I honestly never really had a thought about leaving. I didn't think other guys did either. I guess their plans changed. Mine never did. I wanted to come back. I love this place. I didn't really, you know, didn't really wasn't really ever a thought that occurred to me to enter the transfer portal. But with like today's day and age, it happens to everybody. I mean, everybody has guys leaving. Everybody has guys coming in. So this year we do have a ton of new faces, but I will say that we're probably one of the only SEC teams with I would say as many returning starters. We may have the most or like one of the most. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's a huge thing, I guess, benefit, advantage almost that we have over other schools that right now are just like have a bunch of new portal starters. I mean, I think Tennessee like lost most of their starting lineup from last year, returned a couple of guys. And then LSU, they bring in new guys every single year. They lost Tommy White and uh a bunch of guys from that team that just either lost eligibility or got drafted. So I mean, it's I think having the returners, older returners stay that have been here for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and even the transfers we got, like we got Mitchell Sanford
Yeah.
from LSU, or well, I guess from New Orleans, but played at LSU and then transferred to New Orleans when he hurt his back. With some really good SEC experience. He's an older guy. We have Isaac Humphrey, who played at Louisville, was a team captain there last year. Um, just had a really good year. It started out pretty good too. I think it's big to have, um, seniority or older guys that have been through, top programs that had have played against really good competition that know how to face adversity and when you lose come back and win the next day, because that was we were terrible at that last year, and I think it was a lot of it was because we were young and just didn't really know how to handle it, because like I don't think I remember a time last year where we got run ruled and then came back and run ruled the next day. We let it compound and lost the next game too. So I think that was this weekend, even though we lost, which obviously we didn't want to do that. I think that was really honestly a good thing that we lost and then came back and showed that we could, wash the last game and do really well the next game against a really good Clemson team. So that was a big thing for us.
I know you guys. This has been something that you've done, especially since your time at Ole Miss, at going to Arlington for that first weekend of baseball. For you, throughout this first weekend of baseball, what were some of maybe the personal things that you took away from your game in Arlington this past weekend? What you saw from yourself that maybe you could improve on, things that you did really good. What did you take away from those first three games to get some quality opponents?
For sure. I did not have a good weekend at the plate. And that happens. I had a really good fall at the plate, hit really well. I don't remember what my final average was in the fall, but it was in the 300s. This spring inter squads, I think I didn't hit well the first weekend and then hit like 450 the next weekend and 450 the next weekend.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was feeling great with my bat going into it. And then first game kind of struck. You're playing in a big league park.
Yeah.
I even had some nerves. Like I've been here for 3 years. I
Yeah.
played here. I've started for 3 years here, and I even had some nerves. And so going up to the plate didn't feel as comfortable as I usually do, and that led to some strikeouts. And I had one good hit backside that was like 113, but that was the first pitch, uh, and then after that, I just didn't really do great. I walked once, but I mean, I went over 6 this past weekend. But I played really good defense. I think that was a big thing for me because uh, our I've not my freshman year I didn't really do good on defense. I was more domed up, like, or I guess in my own head, on defense, and to get to play really well over there. Kind of help my confidence a little bit out there. That now it's just all it takes is one hit too. I mean, you have a couple of bad games. It's unfortunate that my two bad games were at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd rather start off, freaking like Luke Hill did, like 5 for 9 with two homers and a triple. Like that, that's sweet. But you know what? It happens. Like I'm not gonna hit good every game. I understand that, and I've just got to get back to hitting the ball hard, stay with my approach, not let myself get in my head too much at the plate, and just keep doing what I've been doing.
I love to hear you say these things, and I think it's because baseball is one of those sports that it's like you're a Hall of Famer in the MLB if you bat 320, right?
Yeah.
That's like the best thing about baseball. It's
Mhm.
like it's the hardest sport just because of that.
Oh
And so
yeah.
you talk about these things. So I want to kind of ask you, as a late bloomer in baseball, starting on your junior year of high school into now, how and maybe what ways have you gone about if you have a 0 for 5 game, just kind of forgetting about it, having a short term memory, and going on to the next day and just improving every single day?
Yeah. Yeah. So we actually have a new shirt this year. For those of y'all that don't know, it's a shirt that goes to, I guess, the MVP of the game, but it could not be the MVP of the game. It could be a guy that it was the bottom of the eighth, and there was somebody hit a leadoff double, and the guy behind him hit a ground ball to second base to get him to third with less than two, and then somebody hit a sacrifice fly and got him in to win the game. So it
Yeah.
could go to that guy. But on the back of that shirt, so they give that shirt out. On the back of that shirt, it says "Shower Well." So our big thing this year is, if we win by a lot, we shower well and get ready for the next game and kind of push even the pot. Like we don't want to ride the roller coaster. Like we don't want to get too high and we don't want to get too low. So after the first game against Arizona, when we won 2-1, that was an exciting game. We were all really excited, but our mantra was shower well because tomorrow is a new day. We need to play good again, which we didn't. And we played really bad, or not. I wouldn't say really bad. We played, yeah, really bad. We played really bad, and we got run ruled. And that's what happens when you play bad and the other team plays good, especially in the SEC. You get smoked. And so that was after the game. He was like, "Okay, we knew adversity was." Coach B told us we knew adversity was going to happen, and it's going to be how you respond. So we showered well, and then came back the next day with completely new energy. We didn't think about that game at all, and then we turned around and put up a 16 spot and run ruled the number six. I think it was number 16 team in the country.
Yeah,
That's a really really good Clemson team, and so that kind of stuff like that. It happens to the best hitters in the entire world. Like if it can happen to Aaron Judge, it can happen to me. I'm not better than Aaron Judge, right? So I think Aaron Judge had a terrible postseason, and he still ended up, hitting a home. I guess he dropped the fly ball or whatever, but he would hit big home runs in big situations. So it happens to everybody. Everybody goes through an 0 for 3 game. I mean, and it happens. You just scratch away ABs. You continue to compete at the plate. My big thing this year is I don't want to get in my own head, which has happened the last couple of years. Whenever I'm not hitting good, I usually like freak. I don't want to say freak out, but you know, get in my own head and say like, okay, am I doing something wrong? What's this? I'm a big overthinker. So I've been really trying to make sure that I don't overthink things and freak out just because I have, an 0 for 3 game and back to back 0 for 3 games, right? So I think the big thing is just focusing on the team this year. Um, and not necessarily doing my own performance, because when you're on a bad team, it's easy to look at your own performance and be like, dang, I need to be better. But whenever your team's good and you win some games, I think it's a lot easier to be like, okay, I didn't do as well, but we won. That's the takeaway. Like, I'm glad we won. I didn't hit well, but I helped the team win because I played good on defense.
yeah,
And I think that's a big thing for me this year. Is I want to stop focusing so much on personal success. And yes, while personal success is good and you want personal success, I'm really hoping that the team has way more success than I do this year.
I love that, man, and I think Ole Miss fans will love to hear that. And so I want to go back now, talk about, man, growing up in East Texas. I think that Texas is a state that sports is just loved. It's the biggest thing. Like, it's not just baseball, it's football, basketball, soccer, everything. Talk about growing up in East Texas. I know you talked about not really playing baseball until later in high school. So what was your upbringing into sports in general before your time of getting into baseball?
Oh, yeah, I played baseball from an early. Whenever I meant that I played didn't start playing high school baseball until my junior year. It was because I didn't have a high school team at my high school. I played baseball from when I was like 2 years old. Like I came out of the womb swinging a bat. So whenever I moved, I started off, was born in Nacogdoches. We moved to Pearland for my dad's medical school. I played baseball there, t-ball, all that stuff. Then we moved to Fort Worth for my dad's residency at JPS, and I played baseball there with a bunch of friends that actually some of them ended up coming to Ole Miss, and so that was kind of the start, I guess, the start of my baseball career. When we moved back to Nacogdoches, my granddad, so my dad's dad, he is, the biggest baseball guy ever. I mean, I guess he was. He loved baseball. He did anything he possibly could to help his grandsons get better at baseball. He built a literal inside, like indoor sports barn at like on his property, and it like 3 minutes down the road from my house. So that was really cool. So I mean, I got really blessed with like top notch private facility of a top notch private facility for me to go hit at
Yeah,
whenever I wanted. And then he even built a baseball field out back, like literally field of dreams type stuff. Like
yeah.
he built a baseball field right outside the indoor like sports facility,
Wow.
and so that was a huge advantage too. So that was honestly, my upbringing was very very centered around baseball, just because we're a big baseball family and I love baseball, and I enjoy hitting and fielding and working on stuff, and it's fun to me. So I think that was the biggest part of my upbringing, was just baseball. Like that was what we did every day. We would go hit every day after my dad was done with work, come home, eat, watch some TV, and then go to sleep. So like that was the biggest part of my childhood, was actually baseball.
That's an amazing story about your grandfather, and I I want to build on you. Can you talk about your father? I know your father, for people that may not know, is a college baseball Hall of Famer, went to LSU, has his number retired at LSU. Talk about your relationship with your father and what he kind of instilled in you as a baseball player, but as well as a man as well.
Mhm. So my dad, you'd never think he was a college baseball Hall of Famer. He doesn't talk about it. He doesn't. He says he doesn't look the part. I mean, if you look at him now, he probably doesn't. But he's like probably one of the best hitters of in college baseball of all time. So it's kind of crazy. I never really realized how good he was
Yeah.
until I used to be an LSU fan, obviously, because we were all LSU fans.
Mhm.
Whenever my dad went there, my mom went there, everything. So I went to the 2017, I believe it was 2017 College World Series championship, LSU versus Florida.
Yeah.
And I never really realized because I'd never really been to any LSU baseball games or anything. I went to when his number was retired. I thought that was cool, but
Mhm.
I really realized how good he was, I guess, when we went to that. And it took us until like the fifth inning to get to our seats because so many LSU fans were talking to him, taking pictures with him, you know, congratulating him on his number retirement, even though it was a while ago. And that was crazy to me. So, um, he kind of showed me the way and how to um, be nice to people. Like he
Yeah.
could have, and this is more of like a man thing, I guess. So he could have just blown people off, gone straight to his seat, not talked to anybody, not taken pictures, gone straight to his seat and watched the game with his family. But instead, he talked to people whenever they came up to him. He took pictures with them. He asked how they were doing. Just showed respect for people. I think that was a big that kind of instilled in me the respect that I try to have for other people that, not necessarily just fans, but just people in general, that want to come up and talk and ask about the team and everything. I feel like I do really well with that. I try to because he did. And baseball wise, he kind of told me that I'm not him. So like everybody, there's a lot of expectations I feel that revolved around me whenever I was coming into college. Just because my dad was one of the best college hitters ever, and everybody was expecting super big things and stuff like this, and I really not necessarily struggle with that, but it was like, okay, I've got some pretty big shoes to fill. It's my dad. He, hit an unreal amount of home runs. He led or had the record for base hits until Jake Mangum at Mississippi State broke it. And so me and him he really hammered down on this is your career. You're a different hitter than me. You're not me. You just go out there and have fun and work hard and do the best you can do, and everything will work out the way it's going to work out. So I think that was he's very big into not putting, I guess you'd think you'd put a ton of pressure on me, but he really doesn't. He just lets me do my thing, and that was really important to me because he was very supportive throughout the recruiting process. He wanted me to go where I wanted to go, not necessarily go to LSU because he went there, and ultimately I decided on Ole Miss because I loved it here. And I mean, he's just as much as an Ole Miss fan as everybody else now. I mean, he watches football. He watches Ole Miss football. He gets excited about the games. Obviously, when LSU plays them in football, he cheers for LSU. But I cheer. It's a little fun rivalry type thing. But when baseball season comes around, he's cheering for Ole Miss just because I'm on the team. So he wore when we went to Alex Box last year. He actually wore powder blue in the stadium, and I was asking if he got any flack for that, but no, he said nope. They were all they all understood, and they were all kind of like all the fans were kind of cheering for me as long as we didn't win. So it was pretty cool.
I want to build on that. So, coming from an LSU background, LSU
Mm.
family, what was your recruiting process like, and how did you break down finalizing and choosing to become an Ole Miss Rebel?
So I really committed really early in my recruiting process. A lot of kids wait and see all the offers they can get and all that. My first offer was TCU, and then after that, it was like I think I committed 3 weeks later. So TCU came, and then Arkansas came, and then Ole Miss came, and then I can't remember the other school, but I think Tennessee was about to offer, but I just committed Ole Miss.
Mhm.
So my top two were really Arkansas and Ole Miss because I really wanted to go to an SEC school. And to me, honestly, they were so similar. Both fan bases were incredible. Both coaching staffs were really good. Their facilities were awesome. Ole Miss was just opening their new facility whenever I was about to commit. So like they just got that new facility we have in down the first baseline.
Mhm.
And so both their facilities were top notch. I guess the separator for me was Oxford. My town is 32,000 people. Nacogdoches is 32,000 people. Oxford is what, 24,000, so in the 20,000s. And it's just really small town feel. And I really, really love that. Almost felt like a home away from home. Um, and I couldn't force myself to go somewhere other than here. So it was kind of like almost a gut feeling. Like I was like, I want to go here.
Yeah.
So that was, I guess that was my short but sweet recruiting process. Is I got the two schools that my top two schools, and Ole Miss ended up winning my heart, I guess.
If you could give a piece of advice to a player in high school,
Mhm.
trying to have that pursuing career of being a D1 player, what advice would you give to a young guy trying to be in the shoes that you are currently in right now, man?
Oh yeah, my brother's a freshman in high school, and the college landscape is really changing with the transfer portal, and then JUCO years not counting as D1 years and stuff like that. I would say don't rush it. I mean, there you have now it's 6 years to play college baseball, because you can go to JUCO and develop for 2 years, get freaking strong, do really well, and then go to wherever school you want to and make a really really good amount of money coming out of the transfer portal.
Yeah.
So I think my biggest thing to high school players would just be have fun, be yourself, play hard, and then if you end up having to go to JUCO, that's completely okay. Especially
Mhm.
now, like if you go to JUCO, you go there for 2 years, you have 2 years under your belt. You're basically going into a D1 school, a 4 year school,
Yeah.
as a freshman, even though you're a junior. So you'd basically be my age right now and be in your freshman year, which I think is an absolutely incredible advantage to all the high school kids now. Even though they have a harder time getting into a D1 program right now because of all the transfer portals and freshmen not getting as much playing time unless they're just ready. And so I think the big thing would be not to worry so much, honestly. Like everything's going to work itself out. Um, JUCO is a great option now, just because if the whole pot via the NCAA thing, if this works out like everybody thinks it's going to, you're going to have 2 extra years of eligibility, and then I think the NCAA is even talking about giving a fifth year to you know, Division 1 athletes. So
Mhm.
now instead of 4 years, they have 5 years. So that's 7 whole years of college that you have to play. And so you have plenty of time, and your time is not, it's not, it, there's no rush anymore. So I think that's the big thing is don't rush, um, enjoy the sport, like play hard, have fun. Most importantly, have fun, because if you're not having fun, you're not going to do good anyways. So make sure you have fun. Those are probably my key points to high school kids.
Thank you for sharing that. And I hope when a high school baseball player watches it, they take that and learn it. And I kind of want to stick to this topic that you're talking about, NIL. Just you don't have to talk about it too much if you don't want to, but like just for your personal experience, how has NIL changed your sport? How has it maybe helped you? You maybe seen some disadvantages of it. Like what has it done in your perspective for your sport?
I think it's done good things and it's done bad things. I think it's done good things as to where like people can help people pay for colleges. It's more of like I think it was mainly designed to make it to where our 11.7 scholarships divided amongst 40 players, we could dilute that a little bit. And I think what it's kind of turned into is honestly like pay for play. So I don't necessarily like that aspect. I like that, you know, student athletes can make money. Um, I think that we've kind of turned it into enter the transfer portal and see who offers the most.
Yeah.
Um, that's kind of what uh, I don't like about it, but at the same time, you kind of do like it because it helps your program and the kids that do end up doing it, they make a lot of money and they help themselves set it. They help set themselves up for the future. So you can't fault any guys for doing it. But I think that it's good right now. I think it can be better. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't think that there's any like I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that it happened in college baseball. I think it should have happened just because I don't know. I think that these guys, the guys that I'm playing with, especially, and other guys, that they deserve to be, I guess, um, compensated for their hard work, and them not being obviously the job won't pay them. A job won't pay them this much, but you know, compensated for all the hard work they've done, and you know, bringing, I guess, I don't really know how to explain it. Bringing, you know, a good team to a college, and how hard they've worked to make themselves better to not necessarily represent their university, but just to help their team. So I think it's a good thing. I think it also can be a bad thing, but I think a lot of it is really good. That was a terrible answer. I'm sorry.
No, you're good, man. I think it's you were honest with it. And I think that's the perspective that I think a lot of people that aren't athletes or aren't coaches don't get to hear a lot of. So that's why I wanted to ask you about it.
Mhm.
And I think that's important. I think that some people understand. I think some people don't. I think some people are for, some people are for, but then want a lot of regulations and rules, and then some people just aren't for. So I appreciate you for saying that in general. And I kind of want to go back now. So you commit to Ole Miss, and I know you have a baseball background, but
Mhm.
what was it like coming in after a national championship had been won at Ole Miss? Just a team that for was going to be remembered for Ole Miss history. What kind of maybe pressure was there on you, maybe in general, just coming into that type of atmosphere? And if there was, what did you just want to build on yourself to be the best freshman you can be? And if not, what was it just like being a freshman at Ole Miss and playing the game that you love so much?
It was awesome. Honestly, it was not as much fun as it could have been because we weren't very good. But I don't know if there was any pressure there. I think it was just uh, it just sucked not being good. Like it was not fun. It was fun playing and obviously starting.
Yeah.
That was really cool and all that. But being bad is not as much fun. Like I don't think anybody on that team really had a ton of fun just because we didn't win very much. Like it was just we just were not good. Like I feel like we could have been good. We just didn't ever string it, like put it together. Same with last year. Last year I think we could have been a lot better than we were, and I think we just honestly were kind of immature in the way that we played. We didn't string games together. We let bad games affect us too much and turn into more bad games, I guess. Um, I think that's what makes this year different. Is I think this is probably going to be the most fun year I've had, just because I think we're going to be really good. We've already played some really good games. I think we've already started out better than we have the last freaking two years. So I think this year is going to be super fun, just because not necessarily I know I'm going to be better, but I know that my team is going to be really a lot better. Like we're going to have a chance, and I think we're going to have a chance to go really far in playoffs, probably make it to Omaha. But the coolest thing for me is I haven't even been a part of a postseason team yet. I don't even know what that feels like. So I'm really excited just to work hard one game at a time to make it back to a postseason, and hopefully host a regional and host a super regional. That's the goal, right? So that's the biggest things for me and I guess goals for this season is work hard in the season, win a lot of games, win one game at a time, and then hopefully become a top 8 national seed and host a freaking regional. That would be pretty sweet, right? So um, that's I guess that's the goal. That's how um, I think that's why I'm more excited about this season or I guess I'm more excited about how fun this season is going to be as opposed to how fun the last two seasons were. Because even though they were fun, they weren't as fun as they could be just because we weren't as good as we could be. So that's probably I guess my takeaway from that.
Has there been any players growing up or even now, then not just baseball, but sports in general, that maybe you just kind of are some of your favorites, guys that you maybe watched and learned about baseball, or just athletes in general that maybe you took their work ethics from? Have there been any athletes in general that have kind of you just sat back and watched and loved watching their careers go by?
For sure. Adrian Beltre and David Ortiz were probably the two most, and I guess Joey Gallo too. Which when Joey was at the when Joey played for the Rangers, because I was a Rangers fan, or I am a Rangers fan. So those were probably the three players that I watched the most that were really really cool to watch. I loved watching David Ortiz. It was just really fun to watch him. Adrian Beltre, I loved his enthusiasm about the game. He loved the game, and you could see it. Um, he just had fun. And then Joey Gallo, it was just fun to watch him hit pop ups 485 feet or whatever. So I think that was pretty cool. So those are probably the three players I watched the most.
How did you become a first baseman is what I want to ask you. Like, is that something that a coach has put you in when you were growing up? That's something that you played because your dad played first baseman. How did you become a first baseman?
Yeah, it was me, my dad. I mean, I played first and third throughout high school. So just I don't know, it was just kind of what I've always played. I played first and third. Because I'm not fast, so not a fast guy, so I can't play short or second. I used to catch a little bit when I was younger. That was fun, but I used to also pitch, and my dad kind of made me make a decision between pitching and catching, and for some reason I chose pitching. So, um, I used to catch a little bit, too slow for the outfield, so can't play the outfield. So I mean, the only options were first, third, or catcher. So I guess kind of worked out that I ended up playing first, I guess.
I got two questions in one for you. First is kind of I'm a music person, so I love trying to just ask people what's your music taste, some of your favorite artists, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And also for people that don't know your walkout song, Disco Inferno. Just talk about
Mm-hmm.
what was the process in picking your walkout song and why you
Okay.
picked that walkout song.
Yeah, for sure. I think my favorite artist probably would be Cody Johnson.
Okay.
He's a big East Texas guy. I used to
Mm-hmm.
go to his because he used to come to before he was like super big. He would come do concerts every year at
Mm-hmm.
Nacogdoches at our expo center, and I would go watch every year. And that was pretty cool. So I guess that'd be my favorite artist. And then for the walk up song, everybody loved mine last year. I'm still getting DMs to change it back to last year's song. And I don't know, I might eventually. If this song doesn't really catch, if people really end up not liking the song, I'll change it back. But it was actually my girlfriend's family. Her dad was telling me, like, giving me like just suggestions or whatever, just like messing around, and he brought up that song. I was like, oh, that'd be pretty cool, match my last name, Fern,
Mm-hmm.
Furniss. I feel like that's kind of like a play on words, I guess. And then I actually decided to do it whenever we were on, the Guardians of the Galaxy ride in Disney World, Cosmic Rewind. Yeah, Disco Inferno came on when we were riding it, and it was, I don't know, I was like, this song is pretty freaking cool because it was I don't know, it made the ride better. So I kind of chose it from that. It sounded good in the ride, and so I was like, you know what, maybe this could be a really good walk up song. So my sister made an edit of it on a music app that she has, and so she cut it to where it starts like at the beginning and then goes straight to the Burn Baby Burn. So I thought that was a pretty cool one. But if people end up not liking it, I can change it. It's not that hard to change my walk up song back to the last year's. I just wanted to see if it would catch on or not, and people would like it. So I guess we'll just see how it goes for over the next couple weeks, and you know maybe I'll have to change it back if I don't end up, if I need to get my hitting rhythm back, maybe I'll have to change it back as a superstition type thing.
I love the Disney World reference. I'm a big Disney World person, so I love that definition you're talking about. And I love the Cody Johnson shout out. No one, every time I ask someone that question, they always try to diss country music. And I'm like, guys, don't knock it until you try it. So you and a few other people have said that over the few years. So I love to hear you say that. I want to ask you, talk about your head coach, Mike Bianco.
Mhm.
Obviously, a guy that won a national championship at Ole Miss, has been here for over 2 decades now, has a lot of history here, but has received a lot of criticism over the last couple of years. Talk about what he means to you, why he was so important in terms of you coming here as a high school player, and just what he's meant for your life.
For sure. I think Coach B is kind of I don't want to say misunderstood, but there's a lot of new fans of our team in the last, probably 5-10 years, because we were so bad at baseball whenever he took it over that nobody really cared about it.
Yeah.
So it's really easy for people to go and criticize him when they don't realize this program would probably still be awful if he hadn't come and completely turned it around. We used to have like grandstands behind home plate
Yeah.
that nobody would come and sit in. I mean, my dad would tell me about how, whenever when he was at LSU and he'd come to play Ole Miss, it was like going to play, I guess, at Missouri now. Like they just didn't have a good fan base.
Yeah.
Nobody would show up to the games. It was just like playing at a high school stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's, we averaged probably the second or third most
Yep.
fans every year. And so the atmosphere he's built is crazy. I think the last couple of years, which Wise received the most criticism, is because of the pitching thing. So I think even he would admit this, that he had a tough time juggling all of the things he had to juggle. He had to call pitches. He had to help the pitchers develop. He had to do bullpens. He had to help the hitters. He had to make lineups. He had to manage the games. He was just doing too much at one time. And it was kind of like taking away from how good he is because he was having to do all these different things at one time.
Yeah.
And I think having Joel, our new guy, having
Mm-hmm.
him help take over the pitching side altogether and, give him some extra time to work on, or I guess to do what he's best at, managing the game, helping the hitters, managing practices, teaching the team how to do the right things, teaching resiliency, stuff like that. I think it's helped him not only a lot be the coach that he is, a really good coach that he is, and I feel like it's kind of shown already. Is I don't think we would have won yesterday's game last year without, like, I don't think we would, if we were playing yesterday's game last year and we only scored 2 runs in the 9 innings, we wouldn't have won. We would have gotten killed. But with Joel being able to focus on just pitchers and helping them out, and then him being able to manage the pitching game,
Mm-hmm.
and then Coach B also being able to manage everything else, we won that game because of our pitching. I mean, it's kind of crazy because Coach B's helped a little bit with pitching and game plan and attack plan, and they go over it before games and stuff. And I think it's kind of showed at the beginning of the season, because last year I definitely don't think we beat Clemson after we got run ruled. I
Mm-hmm.
think we lose that game 100 times out of 100 last year. And then last year, I don't think we win this game either. Like I don't think we won the Arkansas State game last year personally. So I think it's been big for him to, kind of take a load off his back with the pitching side of things, just so he doesn't have to do as many things and he can kind of focus on being a head coach rather than a pitching coach. You know what I mean?
Could you give people listening a breakdown of a game day for you? Say you have a game at 3:30. What time do you get to the stadium? What do you do before the game? Like, what is your breakdown of a game day for you?
So I'll just do what I did yesterday. We started at 2. We were supposed to start at 4.
Mm-hmm.
So we get there 4 hours early. Supposed to be there at 12. So I was going to show up to my 11 a.m. class for a couple of probably 30 or so minutes and head to the field. But game got moved to 2. So 4 hours ahead is when our hitters meeting is.
Yeah.
So our hitters meeting was at 10. All right. So I woke up at 9, got to sleep at midnight, woke up at 9 so I can get 9 hours of sleep. Got to the field a little early, went up to the meeting room where we have our hitters meetings.
Yeah.
And then we watched the relievers from Arkansas State, who we might see, just how they pitch, what their pitches look like, stuff like that. Then we had our meeting, our actual meeting, I guess, is going over their starter, knowing what he throws, how he throws to certain hitters, stuff like that. Watched video on him, watched his pickoff moves, all that stuff. Then after that, at 10:30, we have breakfast, or I guess team meal, but it was breakfast yesterday because it was early. So we had team meal after that at 10:30. Um, After that, we go. We're done, and pretty much our next thing is stretch at 11:30.
Yeah.
So 10:30 to 11:30 is pretty much off, which is really not off. we get dressed, or I got dressed, went to the cages, did some cage drills, did some T work drills, hit off the machine for a little bit. We had to take the tarp and roll it up for the game. Then we stretched at 11:30, did BP at 11:50. No team meeting yesterday, but usually after BP, we'll have a team meeting in the meeting room with Coach B, and he'll go over like the game plan and just give us the motivational speech, obviously. And then after that, come back down, put your uh, actual jersey on. You already have your pants on. Put your actual jersey on. Go out in the field, throw a little bit, get your legs loose again. Do IO. Come back in the dugout. We'll do the team meeting in right field. Then we come back to the national anthem, hype video, Mississippi throw it up, take the field, and that's that. Then it's time to go.
Okay, that's
A lot of information, huh?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you for saying it all, because I think that people forget you guys are student athletes, and this whole conception that will forever annoy me is, oh, these guys don't go to class, they don't do schoolwork, they don't. And I'm like, okay, just let me talk to one of them one time, and then they'll kind of explain to you what they go
Yeah.
through.
Yeah, I was gonna go to class, and so I don't know if we had a quiz yesterday or not. We have in-class quizzes in the class I'm in. So I was going to go to class and hopefully take the quiz early so I could get it done before going to the field. But since the game time changed so late, I didn't have time to go to class at all, because I mean the class started at 11. We had to be at the field at 10. So I had to skip class, and I'm going to get the notes from somebody else in my class tomorrow, and hopefully we didn't have a quiz and I can take it on Thursday, because if not, I'll have to use that as one of my drop quizzes.
Which happens. People don't freak out, guys.
Yeah.
We're in college. It happens. I want to ask you, what's your long-term goal? And I don't just mean like for this 2025 season. I mean for Will Furniss. What is your long-term goal? Do you want to be a professional baseball player? Do you want to be a coaching? Like, what is your long-term goal in terms of your career?
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Obviously everybody at this level wants to play professional baseball. If I get the opportunity to, that'd be awesome. I think I would enjoy doing that at least for a couple of years. Just a cool opportunity. Not a lot of people get to do that. And then after that, I'm majoring in finance. So I think I haven't really thought about it too much. I think I want to go into financial management, and then maybe like a CFO eventually. That I guess that could be the super long term goal.
Yeah.
But I really what I really want to do is just find something I love to do, and then do that, because my dad always says that if you find a job that you love to do, it's no longer a job, it's a hobby.
Yeah.
So you won't dread waking up and going to work every day. You'll actually enjoy doing it. So, and then you obviously, if you enjoy doing it, you do better work, you work harder, you advance more, you obviously make more money. But I think that's not necessarily the point of it. It's
Yeah.
just doing what you love to do is the biggest thing.
Hey man, I love that by Dad. That's why I do what I do. I love doing
Yeah.
it, even though I'm not expecting to become a billionaire. I'm doing what gives my heart gratitude every day. So
Mhm.
I love to hear that. And I want to ask you this too, for Ole Miss fans listening and watching. What's something you would want to tell them to be excited for, to look out for this 2025 Ole Miss baseball team? What would you want to tell fans watching and listening?
For sure. I want them to be excited about how much we want to win. You know, the last 2 years have been terrible. We know that. The guys that came in know that. And they want to win just as much as we do.
Yeah.
So I think they should be excited about how much we want to win. I think they should be excited about how good our pitching staff looks. I think they should be excited about our hitting, even though it hasn't really been there except for the Clemson game. It's gonna come. It's just happens. You'd rather us be cold the first 4 games than
Yeah.
be cold the first 5 games of SEC play, right?
Mhm.
So, I think that our hitting will get there eventually. I know we have a group of really good hitters. I think the most exciting thing is that our ceiling is the national championship game. So that's really exciting, especially to me. I think our ceiling is a national championship game, and I think our lowest point would be just barely making it into a regional.
Mhm.
And that's probably the best we've had in a couple years. So uh, definitely the best we've had in a couple years. I think the last couple years, I mean, I thought our ceiling would be like super regional. So, I think that this team has a lot of potential. And I'm really excited about this year. And I think everybody else should be too, because, it's a good group of guys we got. So,
Speaking from a fan perspective, we are excited, and I think from my perspective, watching a lot of the scrimmages so far before you guys went to Arlington this weekend, I've seen a lot of improvement. So I love to hear that from your perspective, you've seen improvement from your own side, but from your teammates as well. So
Mhm.
we wish the best, and I want to ask you kind of a few more things, and I promise I'm gonna let you go. But I want to ask you, when you get that schedule before the season starts, is there any team that you're like, we have to beat them, or I'm excited to play them more than any other team on that schedule?
Yeah, you usually, since the SEC has won the national championship the last, what, 4, 5, 6 years,
Mhm.
it's usually the previous national champion because you're like, I want to go beat them, right? So last year was LSU. This year it's Tennessee. The year
Mhm.
before that, can't really beat ourselves. So I guess we basically did, but and then the year before that was State, and you're always excited about playing State too. So I think previous national champions, and then Mississippi State. But I think that this team is really focused on not getting too far ahead of ourselves
Yeah.
and just winning the series and the games at hand rather than, looking too far ahead to the future. Um, and focusing on games that necessarily you can't win get 5 games before you win 4 games, right? So, I think we're focused on winning the fourth game on Friday, against, I think it's Eastern Kentucky.
Mhm.
Yeah, Eastern Kentucky. So I think we want to win that fourth game right now, and then eventually, I think we're super excited about playing Tennessee and going to Mississippi State and beating them at home. So that'll be pretty cool too.
Has there been any player, and it could be right now in college or in high school, that just gave you problems, man? Like it could be a pitcher that you just could not figure out how to make contact with them. It could be an opposing batter that maybe you didn't really face, but he just gave your team a lot of yips. Has there been any player that maybe just stood out to you in general more than any other player that just is like, this guy is really good at baseball?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, everybody, like, the answer is going to be Charlie Connon, probably.
Mhm.
I think
Okay.
I remember being at first base because that was the first time I started at first base last year, was against Georgia, and Gunnar Dennis was pitching, and we were basically intentionally walking him without intentionally walking him. Like, we were just trying to get him to chase out of the zone and strike out, right? And so it was 3-0, and this is the first time I've ever heard, because Coach B called pitches last year. This is the first time I've ever heard Coach B call this pitch on 3-0, because usually he calls a fastball right down the middle on 3-0, right?
Mhm.
He called a fastball wave away, which means fastball in the other batter's box, basically. And so our catcher set up in the other batter's box, and Gunner threw it exactly to the catcher's mitt. So the ball was in the other batter's box,
Yep.
and Charlie Condon hit it off of the right center field wall for a double at like 110. And I was just like, how did you hit that? Like, why? Well, one, how'd you hit that? And two, why'd you swing at that? Because it was 3-0.
Mhm.
So I mean, it was mind boggling to me. That was pretty crazy.
Okay. I'm going to remember that. I'm going to ask a few more baseball players that, and I'm expecting the same answer from those people. I love that answer because I remember that clip vividly. So I appreciate your answer to that. One thing that I try to ask before I kind of wrap things up is another two question in one. But the first one is you gave advice to younger guys trying to play Division I baseball. But what advice would you give to people watching and listening just about life in general, just things that you've been able to learn and to take in and process? What advice would you give to someone just about life in general? And secondly, I'm big on legacy, man, and just doing things in the right steps that I want to be remembered for. So when people hear the name Will Furniss, what do you always want them to remember about who you were as a person and a baseball player?
Mhm. Okay, so the first question, I would say, time management is probably is very very important, and I'm blessed enough to where I'm kind of forced to learn that skill,
Yeah.
just because I have to balance practice and lift and games and travel with school. And I think that is especially for college students, I think that's a very important skill to have whenever you go
Yeah.
out into the real world and get a job, right? So, trying to put yourself in a situation to learn how to time manage, whether that be like make a schedule for yourself and stick to that schedule, and give yourself a routine, which is kind of like what we do as a team. Is we try to make ourselves have a routine, whether it's
Yeah.
wake up at this time, class from this time to this time, go to practice or go to the facility, get your early hitting in, have practice from 1 to 5, lift from 5:15 to 6:15, come home, do homework from 7 to 8. If you don't have homework, then you have more time to chill. But
Yeah.
8 to 10, you get to hang out, do whatever. Maybe if you have more homework, do a little bit more homework. Hang out, chill, watch TV, do what you do when you relax, and then go to sleep around 10:30, 11, and maybe 12, and just get your 9 hours of sleep in every night, because sleep is very important. So I think creating a schedule for yourself, and then time management is very important skill to learn while you're in college, when you're first away from everybody that usually does this stuff for you. And
Talking
then,
about
oh
your
yeah, the second question. Second
Mhm.
question. Could you repeat the second question real quick?
Yeah,
Oh, the
just
legacy,
yeah,
legacy, legacy.
legacy.
That's right.
What do you want to be remembered for? What do you want people to always remember about Will Furniss?
hmm Uh, I think mine's kind of different. Because yes, it'd be cool to be remembered because I was really good at baseball, but at the same time, I want to be remembered as a person too. So I think the biggest thing for me would be that people uh, remembered how good of a person I was, how I tried to, be nice to everybody. Um, I want to, inspire little kids to play baseball at the higher level and want to, be good at their sport and work hard, and not necessarily be good at their sport, but be good at everything they do, work hard to do what they want to do in life. And then, I guess the biggest thing would just be that it's costs nothing to be nice. So like I try to be nice to everybody, and hopefully that other people reciprocate that and are nice as well, because everybody likes when somebody's nice. So I think that's a big thing, is just I want people to remember that I'm nice, that being nice costs nothing, and that they hopefully reciprocate that.
I love that, man. Thank you for sharing that. And one more thing that I want to ask, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit with this one, so just bear with me. But I promised people that I would continue doing it after fourth season. It's what I call quick hitters. So I'm just going to
Mhm.
give you like quick questions, and you just would like is whatever your first thought is. You just tell me what those answers will be. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So your dream, what would be your dream car?
Oh, Lamborghini Aventador.
Okay. Favorite song currently?
Oh, why am I blanking on the name? Um, Cody Johnson. Song about. Oh my gosh, dang it! I'm blanking on the name.
We come back
Sorry.
to it.
Okay.
Dream vacation spot.
I'm sorry. You didn't. You broke up a little bit. What did you say?
Dream vacation spot.
Dream vacation spot.
Mhm.
Ooh. Bahamas.
Okay. If you could add one baseball player ever, and this is like professional college to this Ole Miss 2025 team, who would it be?
Bryce Harper.
Okay.
Only
If
2020 season. I actually learned this from Judd yesterday. He is the only 2020 season, 20 doubles, 20
Mhm.
home runs, and 20 stolen bases. He is that. He was the only college baseball player to ever do that. So that's why.
Love it. Bryce is a dog. If not a baseball player, even though you kind of already talked about this, but if not a baseball player, then what would you be?
Financial manager, or yeah, financial manager.
Okay. Pregame meal, if you have one at all.
Oh, breakfast food.
Okay. If you could have dinner with three people, dead or alive, who would they be?
Uh, oh gosh, shoot.
Take your time. That's the last one.
I know. This is a hard one. There's so many. Uh, David Ortiz,
Okay.
um, Elon Musk,
Okay.
and gosh, shoot. Oh no, This is a hard one. Somebody, Albert Einstein.
Okay. Well.
He gives some wise words.
Okay.
I wanted to pick three people that were very, very good at what they did. So
Well, I'm gonna imagine this table: Will Furniss, Albert Einstein, and Elon Musk. I think that'll be some valuable
I'd
conversations.
learn a lot. I would learn a lot.
And I lied. Last question is, and I'm implementing this for the first time, so I think you guys will like this. But if you could see one person join me on the show, who would it be?
Ooh. Who all from baseball have you done?
You were the very first baseball player, my friend.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see. I'm just gonna say Judd Utermark.
Okay.
I think he would do it too. So maybe you'll have to have him on sometime.
Okay, Judd, you heard the word, man. We got to get you on and have a conversation with you, man. Will, I want to say thank you. It was great finally actually getting a chat with you. And like I said, man, I've been watching closely and I'm seeing a lot of improvement for your game. So I just want to say we got your back, man. We are loving what you're doing so far. So continue just keeping your head up and moving. And again, thank you for joining me. This is special for me. This fifth year of doing this. I can't believe been doing this for 5 years. So every guest on here is kind of like more meaningful to me in a way than most guests have been. So again, thank you. And we got your back, man. I mean that wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Thank you too.
Of course, man. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe, and continue to support myself. We've got a lot more conversations and coming in. Hope you guys took a lot from Will. I sure did. A lot of notes that I will be writing myself to implement in my life, but as well, we laughed a lot, and that's kind of my biggest goal, like I said earlier. So hope you guys enjoy it. Take care. God bless everyone. Oh, I'm going to have to edit that out.